Yeah, absolutely. I think no, as a family, we've all been very passionate about sport, but investing so heavily into sport, was something that I brought to the table. My basic idea was to the board was that if you look at branding, right, it, we in steel compete with Tata Steel, right? In cement, we compete with the Birlas, who are very, very old family. These are the two big businesses we're in, and we compete with such stalwarts. For JSW to build a brand is going to take years, and it's going to take a lot of money. So I said, instead of spending that money on television commercials and hoardings and wall paintings and all of that, why don't we invest that money into sport? And if we can create Olympic medals or we can create Indian champions, then the brand of JSW will automatically get created. And over the last 8 years, JSW's brand has come a very long way. And a lot of that is to do with sports. A lot of that is to do with our Olympic sports. Sakshi Malik, who's one of our athletes, she won a bronze medal at the Olympic Games in 2016. One of only 2 medals India won. Bengaluru FC have won a title every season except for last year where we didn't win a title. We lost in the semi-finals. Then Haryana Steelers, we bought again very, very popular Kabaddi league. And then obviously with IPL and Delhi Capitals. So if you look at the way our brand has grown in this period, it's also grown tremendously. We were the 108th most recognized brand in India in 2012 when we started on the journey of sports. And now we're the 34th most recognized brand in India. So that was my concept. I pitched to the board of directors and my father, obviously, and they all loved the idea. They said that, if we can be the best producer of steel in the world, we can be the most efficient producer of cement in the world. Why can't we produce world champions in sport? So, so bringing professionalism into management of sport was something that I pitched, and luckily got the money from the board.
The VAR Show. The one place for your weekly football update.
A very warm welcome to the VAR Show, the show which talks about all the various major football leagues in detail. Today we are going to continue with interviews, and we have Mr. Parth Jindal with us. So he is involved in a lot of sports, be it cricket, kabaddi, but today we'll talk about his, maybe the one that we talk about generally is football with Bengaluru FC. He's also the owner of Bengaluru FC. So without wasting much time, I would like to first thank Parth for coming on the show. Thank you and welcome to the show. And I would like to begin by asking you, how are you and how has this period been for you?
No, thank you, Subhashish. I've seen some of the shows that you have done and some of the people that you've brought on to the show. So it's very nice to be speaking to you and to be speaking to all the people who watch your show. So namaste to everyone in Nepal. So I think this period has been very challenging overall. On the positive side, I've got to spend a lot of time with the family. I have a one and a half year old daughter, so it's very nice to spend time with her at home. But it's also been, slightly scary with the number of cases in India rising. But overall, it's been okay. I think we're all looking forward to life coming back to normal. Now I think with live sports coming back, with the Premier League back on, La Liga back on, and now with IPL coming, and then soon we'll have the ISL again. So it's exciting to see things coming back. Just hoping that everyone stays safe. I hope a vaccine comes out sooner rather than later, and we can all go back to attending these matches live in the stadium.
Of course, and I'll get to a more lighter topic, that is football in comparison and sports in comparison to what's happening all around the world. And I'll talk of JSW. You all have been involved in a lot of sports, including football in India. Why sports?
No, absolutely. So I think if you look at the industries that JSW is in. We're in steel, we're in cement, we're in power, we're in infrastructure development, we're in all the core economic sectors of India's development. I genuinely believe that no matter how much one invests in the country and how much an economy grows, there is nothing like sport that binds a nation and builds the moral fiber of a nation. And when we were looking at our brand ethos and brand philosophy at the JSW Group, we're all about promoting and nurturing development. And we looked at India's sporting landscape, and when you look at the size of India's population and you look at the number of medals that India wins at the Olympic Games, it's very, very low. So we decided very early on that we would invest in Olympic sports, and we selected 5 Olympic sports, which is boxing, wrestling, judo, track and field, and swimming. And we created a high performance institute called the Inspire Institute of Sport. And then the other one when we were developing this institute, the other thing that came into our minds was, if you look at football, it's the most affordable sport in the world. You need one ball and that's it. You can have stones, you can have chappals, you can have anything, and you can play a football with 4 people, 6 people, 10 people, it doesn't matter. And it always was very interesting why India and the subcontinent has never played in a FIFA World Cup. So I'm very passionate about football. I grew up watching the Premier League. I've been a big Arsenal fan my whole life. So I think the opportunity came to my father in 2013 to buy the Bangalore Football Club, and create a new football club. There was no football club. The last time a Bangalore club participated in the I League or in the top division of the Indian League was in the 1980s. So he approached me. I was 23 years old at that time, and he said, "Would you like to run a football club in India?" I said, "Dad, I know nothing about Indian football. I only know Baichung Bhutia and Sunil Chetri. I don't know anyone else." And he said, "Yeah, but you're so passionate about Premier League and about Arsenal. Why don't you do something to develop Indian football?" And I thought it was a great idea, great opportunity, and the rest is history, as they say.
Of course, and I want you to touch on one thing that you said, like how your father approached you, like. Is it something like, I wanted to ask you, like, was sports something of your brainchild which your father would probably not get into if you are not willing to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as a family, we've all been very passionate about sport, but investing so heavily into sport, was something that I brought to the table. My basic idea was to the board was that if you look at branding, right, we in steel compete with Tata Steel, right? In cement, we compete with the Birlas, who are very, very old family. These are the 2 big businesses we're in, and we compete with such stalwarts. For JSW to build a brand is going to take years, and it's going to take a lot of money. So I said, instead of spending that money on television commercials and hoardings and wall paintings and all of that, why don't we invest that money into sport? And if we can create Olympic medals or we can create Indian champions, then the brand of JSW will automatically get created. And over the last 8 years, JSW's brand has come a very long way. And a lot of that is to do with sports. A lot of that is to do with our Olympic sports. Sakshi Malik, who's one of our athletes, she won a bronze medal at the Olympic Games in 2016. One of only 2 medals India won. Bengaluru FC have won a title every season except for last year, where we didn't win a title. We lost in the semi-finals. Then Haryana Steelers, we bought, again, very, very popular Kabaddi league. And then obviously with IPL and Delhi Capitals. So if you look at the way our brand has grown in this period, it's also grown tremendously. We were the 108th most recognized brand in India in 2012 when we started on the journey of sports. And now we're the 34th most recognized brand in India. So that was my concept. I pitched to the board of directors and my father, obviously, and they all loved the idea. They said that, if we can be the best producer of steel in the world, we can be the most efficient producer of cement in the world. Why can't we produce world champions in sport? So bringing professionalism into management of sport was something that I pitched, and luckily got the money from the board.
Of course, that is one of my questions. Because there are a lot of along with JSW, many other companies have also invested, and I generally thought that something like a Barclays, which many of them around the world would not know, but you associate that because of the Premier League, the Barclays Premier League. So you know the brand. I can vouch that I would not know JSW, although I spent most of my career till now, whatever I have spent in India, my schooling and even in Bangalore, my engineering. But I did not know JSW until unless I saw BFC.
Yeah.
So that is a very good idea that you had.
No, correct. Like for millennials, right? For people our age and younger, they don't care what steel they are using. They don't care what cement they are using, right? Unless you're living in rural India or in a small town, then you care about steel, cement, paint, etc. But how to make them aware that there is a company called JSW, and because of BFC, our recognition in Bangalore and Karnataka has really increased a lot.
Of course, I wanted to ask you, but why Bangalore? Why in Bangalore?
So our there's a personal reason, and then there is a company reason. I'll tell you the company reason first. So our largest steel plant and our largest investment is in the state of Karnataka. It's in a place called Vijayanagar, which is near Bellary, which is near Hampi, with the ruins of Hampi. So that is our largest single investment in the country. So that is why we felt it was very important for us to be in Karnataka. Obviously, Bangalore being the capital of Karnataka, Bangalore was our first choice. And my father studied in Bangalore. He went to Ramaya College in Bangalore. He did his engineering there. So he obviously has a very soft corner for Bangalore as well. So these were the main two reasons why we selected Bangalore.
Of course, and anyone who has been around Bangalore always it leaves its impression on itself. I can vouch for that because I spent a lot of time there. And I wanted to ask you, I wanted to say you I had been only to one match for Bengaluru, and I think they played Northeast United, and I was very, very taken aback when you get the match day and everything. I have not been to other stadiums in India in terms of football, but that little bit what you have, maybe an influx of the Premier League or something where you get a match program. That was very nice, to see.
No, so I from day one, we were very clear that that we are competing with the television, right? If you look at the timings of the matches, it's happening at 7:30 p.m. or when we were in the I League, even 5:30 p.m. or 5 p.m. This is exactly the same time when on a Saturday or a Sunday the Premier League is on. So I was very clear that A, we are competing against the television set. B, we are trying to attract people who go to live IPL matches, right? So they want that kind of experience. You can't give them a poor experience because A, the quality of football in India is nowhere near the Premier League. So how do we entice them to come and create a world-class experience, for them? Whatever best experience is possible. So things like, we made different stands. We made a stand for only 50 rupees a ticket. We made a stand for all the college kids, which is called the West Block West Block A and West Block B. Now they call themselves the West Block Blues, right? Then we created an away stand. First time in India, we created the concept of an away stand. We created a north stand for different people. So to create the culture of loving to go to watch Bengaluru play on the weekend, watching your own city play against other teams, other cities was very, very important. So I think things like the match day program, things like selling the merchandise in the stadium, getting underprivileged kids to walk out with the team, using them as the ball boys. All these things we thought about, saying that if we want to really make football popular in the city of Bengaluru, we have to attract all types of people. We have to attract the people from Austin Town and Fraser Town and all these small areas who love football, but we need to make it affordable. We need to attract the college kids and the English speaking kids who like watching the Premier League and like to make chants and all of that. And we have to attract all the Bangalore Super Division players and their families, etc. So that's how we had thought of it. And it's remarkable how over the last 8 years, from 5,000, 6,000 people in the stadium, now we get 25,000 people in the stadium. It's been amazing.
Of course, and I wanted to ask, you said how leaving out last year, you all had won a trophy every year. Did you all envision when you all started that you will be so successful in such a short time?
No, absolutely not. When we started, we were the target I had given Ashley Westwood, who was our first manager, was actually don't finish last. That's the only thing I have, and also please enjoy yourself, because we were a young team. There was a very famous headline in the Times of India when we won the I-League, that a group of rejects win India's largest crown or India's highest crown. And there's that article is, I kept it in my office cabin, and I see it every day when I come in. But it was a very remarkable story on how in our very first season we won the I-League. And then I think after we won in our first year, a lot of top players wanted to play for Bengaluru. Everyone from Eugene Lingdo to Sandesh Jhingan to Robin Singh, Thoy Singh. I mean, you can name the Indian 11 and 7 to 8 players will be from BFC, even now. So, so once we won in our first year, then I think the expectation became higher and higher. Then we won the Federation Cup in our second year. Then we won the I-League again in the third year. Then again we won the Federation Cup. So I think it was not expected, but I think when you have Sunil Chhetri and you have created like a family type of atmosphere, then the success just became second nature to the team.
Of course, and I wanted to ask you, I spoke to many people who are not related to Bengaluru FC in any way, but they have said, you all have been the front runners in maybe setting out how football should be, maybe having something like physiotherapist, on the team, having a group of how, it's very easy when, there's substandard work going on around the country. It's very easy to fall into that trap. Did you always have that goal? No, we would have this set of people and we are going ahead with this. Was it always there?
No, absolutely. We obviously studied what some of the best football clubs are doing around the world. So one of the first things we put into place was a very strong pyramid structure, right? Which is the top of the pyramid is the Bengaluru FC first team. Then you have a Bengaluru FC second team, which is the B team. Then you have the under 19, then the under 17, the under 15, the under 13, and then you have the soccer schools, which is, covering a vast variety. So you have soccer schools, then the top kids from the soccer schools come into the academy, then the top kids from the academy go into the B team, and then the top players of the B team go into the first team. So, we made a very, very clear structure based on what, Ajax does, what Arsenal does, what Barcelona does, what Manchester United, the top clubs do around the world. And then, we selected the right type of people. Like Ashley Westwood was selected. We had strength and conditioning coach selected. We had a head of nutrition selected. It was unbelievable when I went to watch East Bengal versus Mohan Bagan. After the match, there was a plate of samosas that came into the ground, and I was shocked. I said, how can professional athletes be eating samosa and jalebi? It's unbelievable. So we said we will be very professional, and we will do everything like a top European club will do. And that's exactly why we started winning. If you see, in our first season, Bengaluru FC scored the most number of goals after the 80th minute, because we were just fitter than the other team.
Of course, and I wanted to ask you, you spoke about this, you gave a hint of how you keep track of stats, and as a company, as a team, Bengaluru FC, how much do you all focus on data and everything, which is a very big thing. Like you mentioned, the top clubs, they focus on data. How much do you all focus?
No, it's a big focus. The players wear the heart rate monitor while they train. They wear that vest, which captures all their data, and how much sweat loss they have, how much what is their maximum VO2 levels, what is their fatigue levels. All these things are very closely monitored during pre-season, and we give a lot of feedback to our players on where they need to improve. They all do their pre-season conditioning at the Inspire Institute in Vijayanagar, which is our high-performance Olympic training center. And they work very closely with our strength and conditioning team and the nutritionist. And then even during the season, they're constantly in touch with the professionals. So, I think if you look at Sunil Chetri, right, he's been with us now 7 years. This will be his eighth season with Bengaluru FC. I don't know how old he is, because every time I try and ask him that question, he gives me a different answer. But on the field, he's so fit. It's amazing. And I always ask him that how are you able to keep yourself so fit? And he always says that, one is the knowledge that now he has gained working with so many different coaches and managers, and also the sheer discipline and the infrastructure available to him at Bengaluru. So he now since we started till now, I think Indian football has really matured in many ways. And now not only Bengaluru, everybody from FC Goa to ATK to Chennai, all the ISL clubs now follow a very rigorous fitness regime. And I would like to think that we were the ones who started it, and feel proud about that.
Of course, and you spoke about the GPS devices that you all use. Do you think that, at least in my opinion, I think that because you had someone like you who knew about football and followed maybe Arsenal, who are themselves front runners in Premier League in all this stuff, it helped. Maybe if you had someone else who did not have much about football background, who would not maybe go ahead with these devices in terms of weight in your capacity.
No, I mean, I think it's not just me. I think even the team that we have, whether it's Mandar Tamane, who's the CEO of Bengaluru FC, or Mustafa Ghaus. Mustafa is the CEO of JSW Sports. Mustafa used to be a professional tennis player. He played tennis for India in the Davis Cup, and he won a bronze medal at the Asian Games as well. So Mustafa actually brought in a lot of cutting edge knowledge about nutrition, about sports science, about data analytics. So I think the knowledge was available, right? I think if you go to Subroto Bhattacharya or you go to Sanjoy Sen, they also have knowledge. They have a lot of knowledge. Even they know what needs to be done, but sometimes they don't get the backing and they don't get the financial support. So I think it's not fair to say that they don't, that India did not have the knowledge. India definitely had the knowledge. It's just the backing was not there, the mindset was not there.
Of course, like I meant that way because like when you said like the two historical teams, maybe like when you said like East Bengal, they were giving samosa and jalebi. So maybe the knowledge was there. They were playing football for a reason, but maybe they didn't have the backing to maybe go in more for the nutrition part.
Yeah, now you go and see East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, they are unbelievable. They are like more professional, and they are, last year Mohun Bagan won the I League. This year they are in the ISL. There are rumors that East Bengal will come into the ISL. So very exciting times for Indian football.
Of course, like like I'll just talk about that. And do you think like them coming like right now for me at least, maybe because I have a soft corner for Bangalore, I'll say Bangalore is the best team. But do you think like them coming in will change the dynamics?
No, I mean it's such a positive development for Indian football. When I was growing up, I did not know India even played football, but Mohun Bagan East Bengal was just incredible. My first game that I watched of Indian football was, I think, 1996, when Baichung Bhutia scored the most incredible goal in the derby. So I think see, they are Indian football. They are the soul of Indian football. Them and the Goa clubs, Tempo, Salgaonkar, Churchill Brothers, Sporting Club de Goa, the and Mohun Bagan, East Bengal, Mohammedan Sporting. We grew up hearing these names, and when we played in the I League, to see the passion, the fervor of the Mohun Bagan fans or the East Bengal fans or the Mohammedan Sporting fans was just unbelievable. So when we decided to move from the I League to the ISL, I was heartbroken. I was completely heartbroken that we would not be able to play against Mohun Bagan and East Bengal, because those are the matches that you want to win. Those are the matches you want to remember. So I was always pushing. I was pushing 22G. I was pushing East Bengal that आप आ जाइए, आप ISL में आ जाइए. So very happy that Mamta Didi got involved. Very happy that obviously Mrs. Ambani helped them and got them over the line, and Sanjeev Goenka bought Mohun Bagan, and Mr. Bangur bought East Bengal. So yes, the dynamics will change. These are the two bullies of Indian football. Now they are in the ISL, but they know BFC. We've always had a very good record against them, and we will fight tooth and nail, because we are of this decade. We are the most successful Indian football club, and we have to make sure we continue in the new decade which has started this year. So we are not going to allow them to dominate, that's for sure.
Of course, and I hope so, because I'm a Bengaluru FC fan. I hope they win. And I wanted to ask you have been involved in cricket as well with Delhi Capitals, and I'm like, do you think football will ever reach that height or the fanfare that cricket enjoys in India?
So it's a very tough question. It's a very important question. See, I think India has won the World Cup in cricket 3 times, right? 2011, 2007, and 1983, right? Now we are the world's leading country when it comes to cricket, right? Yes, not many countries play cricket. That's a separate point and a separate debate. But when you think of Virat Kohli, you're like, oh, he's the world's best batsman, right? Today in football, India is 102 or 103 in the rankings, right? We were 170 when Bengaluru started. Now we're 102, 103. We are nowhere near even the top 10 in Asia, right? Forget the world. So none of our players are playing in Europe. None of our players are playing in North America. None of our players are playing in the top leagues of the world, right? So until and unless, my belief is, until and unless an Indian player plays for Arsenal or Manchester United or any of the top clubs in the world, Indian football will not become that popular. Until and unless India qualifies for the World Cup, India will not become so popular. Football in India will not become as popular as cricket. But the day India qualifies for the World Cup, or the day we have some Singh or some Shah or some Goenka or Goyal in some Premier League club in the world, in Premier League or top club in the world, the fanfare for Indian football will just skyrocket. It will go crazy. So, can football ever catch cricket? The answer is, I think it could be a very close number two. And if you look at the young generation, the new generation, everyone loves to watch football, right? Everyone loves to play football. Cricket is expensive, it's difficult. You need a ground, you need bat, ball, stumps, pads, helmet. I mean, so much. But because India is the best in the world and we can compete against, we can beat Australia and England and South Africa and all these countries, we love cricket. And till India starts competing in the world, in football, we won't get there. So, short answer is, I think it's possible, but it will take some time and a lot of investment, and that's what the ISL is doing. That's what Reliance is doing, JSW is doing, Tatas are doing. So, I think in 10 years, India will be a top footballing nation.
Okay, like not cricket, but if you compare itself, to maybe generally, if you take overall demographic, and since I have been there, I've spent a lot of time in India, I've seen that people generally everyone has a Premier League team or a La Liga team or a European team, but you can't say the same like they have a Indian team. Will that change going forward?
No, it's a very good observation. My friends don't have an Indian club. They don't. For example, I live in Mumbai. They don't support Mumbai City. They will watch Arsenal and Manchester United, but they won't watch Mumbai City. So I think it will take some time, Subhashish, but it's increasing. Like if you look at Bangalore, Bengaluru 10 years ago, if you went to a college, went to your college in Bengaluru or Christ College in Bangalore and said, listen, you come watch Bengaluru play football, they would laugh at you. Now, if you tell them, come watch Bengaluru play football, they think it's cool, they think it's fun, they think it's exciting. So it's changing. It will happen. Slowly, it will happen.
Of course, and I'll move on from that and to more lighter topic, and you're an ardent Arsenal supporter. Why Arsenal?
I think growing up, I was about 9 years old. I remember when I saw Mark Overmars and Thierry Henry, Nicolas Anelka, Patrick Vieira, that the famous Arsenal team, Arsene Wenger, the professor, coming into the dugout. I just fell in love with the way they play football. I fell in love with Highbury. I fell in love with the jersey. I fell in love with, I just fell in love with Overmars and Henry, quite honestly, and David Seaman. And from then it just stuck, the rivalry between Roy Keane and Vieira, the invincible season, Jose Antonio Reyes, Freddie Ljungberg, Robert Pires. I mean, it just became something I fell in love with, and then it just stuck. And I could, every time I would visit London for a holiday, I would make it a point to try and go for an Arsenal game. I remember my first Arsenal game was Arsenal versus Leeds United, where Mark Viruka scored the winner to break my heart and to break every Arsenal fan's heart. And I just fell in love with the club, even though there's not been much to cheer over the last 12, 13, 14 years, but other than FA Cup wins, it's just a club I associate myself with now.
Of course, and I wanted to ask you, did you ever try to get Arsene Wenger to Bengaluru FC?
No, no. We obviously tried. We tried to do a youth academy partnership with Arsenal, but they were very expensive, so we didn't do it.
Of course, like you mentioned a bunch of names, like who are maybe I can even go on to say like Premier League greats, not only Arsenal, because that time you mentioned everyone who was in the almost in and around the golden season of the Arsenal of Wenger's time. So like, who was your favorite player among them?
My favorite player from an Arsenal point of view is definitely Thierry Henry. Henry and Mark Overmars, and I absolutely love Dennis Bergkamp also. And in more recent times, Fabregas, I really love Fabregas when he was at Arsenal, not when he's been at Chelsea or Barcelona. And I really now I really like Aubameyang. I think he's a quality player, and I'm quite excited about Arteta coming in as the manager.
Of course, and like, do you keep tracks of Arsenal player if they are out of contract? Can we get them to Bengaluru?
No, I think they're very expensive. Number one, and number two, I think our focus really has been on developing Indian players. That's very important. My ultimate dream is to get a Bengaluru FC player to be bought out by Arsenal.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good dream. And I wanted to ask you, like, how realistic is that, or what's the time frame for that to be realistic?
So I don't know if you heard of Udanta Singh from our team. He had a couple of offers in the A League in Australia. So that's the kind of level we are at. Obviously, Gurpreet played in Stepanek, but came back to India. I think it's the youth academy, the under 15, under 17 boys who in the next 5-6 years could have a possibility to play in Europe. I truly believe so. Obviously, if India's ranking goes up, it'll be easier for them to get work permits. That's for sure. But the other big dilemma now is the ISL has so much money that the ISL is paying Indian players more than what European tier 2, tier 3 European clubs would pay Indian players. If I was an Indian player my only goal was to become a better footballer, you would much rather play in the second division or third division in Europe than play in the ISL. But obviously, a player doesn't only care about becoming a better player, he cares about making money as well. And in the ISL, we pay Indian players a lot of money. So they don't want to go to Europe because they don't get enough money there. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 situation. Because right now, Indian players are good enough to play in, let's say, the Championship or League One in England, not in the Premier League. And the money in League One and the Championship is not great compared to India. So they don't go, and they don't want to go. Second, the problem is the permit. The work permit is a problem as well. So, and obviously the language. So these three problems are there. But I'd say an Indian player playing in the Premier League, I think hopefully 5 years from today.
Of course, and I'll ask you like two final questions related to Arsenal, and I think 3 or 4 more because you look very tired and I don't want to take much of your time. So I'll ask you like, what do you think of Arsenal this season? Do you think what is the realistic goal?
Top four. I think top four is a realistic goal. Tough, really tough. Chelsea spent a lot of money. Obviously, Liverpool is amazing. United, City, Tottenham. Tottenham are not great, but I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'll always say that. Arsenal. So I really think top four. Arsenal has a chance for top four.
Of course, and I wanted to have a follow up on that. You spoke about Spurs, okay? And Spurs have the new that All or Nothing. I don't know if they have watched. So, do you think something like that with Bengaluru FC would make it more bigger for the club as itself in terms of branding?
Yeah, it's a great idea. We're looking at it. We're definitely looking at it.
Of course, and staying last question in terms of Arsenal, like Arsenal board and the owners get a lot of stick for not spending money, and you have been in similar situation that you know what they are going through. Do you think like fans are very much, like they don't understand the other part of the situation?
Um, no, there's no hiding that the Arsenal owners have not spent enough. They've not spent adequately or in comparison to Liverpool or United or City or Tottenham or Chelsea, right? So the top six Premier League clubs have all spent more money than Arsenal, right? So that is very, very disappointing because Arsenal have been allowed to get worse, right? Systematically, it doesn't take any fan or expert to know that Arsenal don't have good centre backs, right? Now, finally, we bought Saliba and what's his name? The new
Gabriel,
guy.
Gabriel.
Gabriel. Finally, we bought them. Finally, we bought, we gave Aubameyang a new contract. We got in Willian from Chelsea. Finally, but what were they doing for 10 years? I just don't understand. Like, how can you buy like Socrates and Mustafi and like these kind of players? It's like insane. Like, then you're not serious about winning the Premier League. You're okay just paying the interest for the stadium and all of that. So I think they haven't spent enough. They haven't had a good plan. I think the whole club was dependent on Arsene Wenger. When he left, a lot of the cracks and a lot of the gaps were found. And now I think with Arteta and Edu and the new CEO Venki, I think they've really got a good group of people thinking about football in the right way. And I think it's a matter of time before Arsenal start challenging for the title.
Of course, and I'll ask you one final question. What has been the proudest moment for you in relation to Bengaluru FC?
I think the absolute proudest moment for me was when we beat Johor in the AFC Cup semi-final. Johor's player budget was 4 times our player budget. The top club of Malaysia. They had some of the most expensive foreigners from Brazil and other countries. When we went to Johor and we came back with a 1-1 draw with Eugene Lingdo scoring an amazing goal from outside the box. And then when we came to Bangalore, we had a packed Kantirva, 27,000 people. And Sunil Chetri just scored the most sublime goals. And we beat Johor 3-1 in the return leg and went to our first AFC Cup final. I flew to Qatar for that final. It was just amazing to see that India has reached the final, or Bengaluru FC reached the final of an Asian competition. First time for an Indian football club. And we lost the final 1-0 to Air Force Club of Iraq. But that feeling of making it to the final, was definitely the proudest moment of my stint or our stint at Bengaluru.
Of course, and on that note, I'll sneak in one more. And if you had the option to buy one of these two, whom would you buy, Ronaldo or Messi?
I would. I'm in the Ronaldo camp. I'm in the Ronaldo camp. For me, he's a more complete player.
Of course, and although Wenger tried to buy Messi, but that is a different story.
Yeah.
So, on that note, Parth, thank you so much for talking to me, and I wish you all the best for your future seasons with Bengaluru FC, and hope we can talk again soon. Thank you once again for giving so much of your time. Take care, stay safe. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much, Subhashish.